Welcome back. And today we are going to follow up on the video that I posted last week. And the title of that video is Stop Ignoring What You're Sensing. And in this video, I go into the first chapter of my book. My book it's titled Aim to Be Human. And the first chapter is titled I Bought a New Car. And this video is explaining about how one of these sensors in my car experienced a very minor moment of impact. And as a result of this impact, it dislodged one of these sensors that was located in the front bumper of my car. It knocked it loose and out of place, and it was no longer perceiving the outside world from the position that it was in the front bumper, because it had got knocked loose and it had fallen inside the front bumper of my car. And as a result of this, it was now perceiving itself as a threat outside of itself. And this experience shifted my car from functioning to safety mode. And this experience left me stranded on the side of the road in a brand new car. Literally on the side of the road, stranded in a brand new car. The engine is still running, the car is full of gas. My car would not drive. And so now I want to share a story about a family, a husband and wife that are also parents to two sons. And I want to share how deception, manipulation, and lies were introduced into this family unit, and how the experiences with lies and deception and manipulation were being sensed and perceived by members of the family, creating red flags, and they ignored the red flags. And as a result of them ignoring the red flags, the father ultimately ended up giving something that should have gone to his firstborn son to his youngest son. And I'm sharing this because I want you to understand how important it is for you as a parent to do your healing work. When you have been exposed to a childhood where you experience abuse of any kind, firsthand or secondhand, physical, mental, emotional, sexual, any type of abuse, it causes emotional wounds that makes it difficult for you to perceive things effectively, and it makes it difficult for you to respond well to red flags. And also, if you were a child that was born in a home where your parents were dealing with different addictions, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, shopping addictions, porn addictions, these things are unhealthy coping mechanisms to internal conflict. And all of these, the emotional abuse, the emotional neglect, abuse of any kind, the addiction type of behaviors, they are all experiences that when children are subjected to them, it forces children to adapt in unhealthy ways that makes it difficult, very challenging for them to discern well and respond well to red flags moving forward. And I'm sharing this story with you because I want you to understand how important it is that A, you do your healing work, and B, because your children are watching you, and whatever it is that you're modeling, that's going to be the way that they will most likely respond to things as they mature into adulthood. So if you're a parent that's ignoring red flags because you want to keep the peace, if you're a parent that is denying, dismissing, distorting the reality of what it is that you're perceiving because you're more concerned about somebody else's feelings and emotions than your own and doing what's right, then these are the type of results you can expect. It's not your job to keep the peace. You are called to be a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper. So let's get into it. We're going to start with Genesis chapter 36, and we're going to start with the very last two verses, and then we'll go into chapter 27. So, Genesis chapter 26, verses 34 and 35. Now Esau was 40 years old when he took as wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they made life bitter and a grief of mind and spirit for Isaac and Rebekah, their parents-in-law. I want you to keep this in mind and use this as a reflection point as I read through chapter 27, verses 1 through 35. And I want you to see how it is that I kind of want to give you some context that helped Esau to get to this place of marrying a woman that was making life bitter and filled with grief for his mother and his father, Isaac and Rebekah. So now we're in chapter 27, and we will read verses 1 through 8. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so that he could not see, he called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, "My son." And he answered him, "Here I am." He said, "See here now, I am old. I do not know when I may die. So now I pray you, take your weapons, your arrows, and a quiver, and your bow, and go out into the open country and hunt game for me, and prepare me appetizing meat such as I love, and bring it to me so that I may eat of it, preparatory to giving you my blessing as my firstborn before I die." But Rebekah heard what Isaac said to Esau, his son. And when Esau had gone to the open country to hunt for game that he might bring it, Rebekah said to Jacob, their younger son, "See here, I heard your father say to Esau your brother, 'Bring me game and make me appetizing meat so that I may eat and declare my blessing upon you before the Lord, before my death. So now, my son, do exactly as I command you.'" So in verses 1 through 8, what we are seeing here is that Isaac is, he's up in age, and he is feeling like he is very limited with the remaining days that he has left before his life is over with. We also understand that Isaac's vision is failing him. He is not seeing well, if he's even seeing at all. I don't know if he's got no vision, or maybe whatever he see, everything just looks completely blurry. But he's not seeing well. And then in verse 8, we hear from Rebekah where she is saying that she wants Jacob to do exactly what she says, meaning, don't question me, just do as I say. So now let's go into verses 9 through 17. "Go now to the flock, and from it bring me 2 good and suitable kids, and I will make them into appetizing meat for your father, such as he loves, and you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat and declare his blessings upon you before his death." But Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, "Listen, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Suppose my father feels me, I will seem to him to be a cheat and an impostor, and I will bring his curse on me and not his blessing." But his mother said to him, "On me be your curse, my son. Only obey my word and go fetch them to me." So Jacob went, got the kids, and brought them to his mother. And his mother prepared appetizing meat with a delightful odor, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took her elder son Esau's best clothing, which were there in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. So now what we've got, we can clearly see that Rebecca and Isaac are not, they are not one. They are married, but they are not one. They are not one in their marriage. They are not on the same, they are not in agreement in their parenting. And there is clearly some level of conflict in their marriage. Otherwise, Rebecca would not be behaving in this manner and fashion. Rebecca is misusing and abusing her authority as a parent, and she is encouraging and manipulating her son Jacob into a place where he feels forced to deceive his father. She is telling her son, do as I say and do not question me. Like, she is essentially telling her son, stop thinking, I'm going to do the thinking for you. Just do what I say. That is one of the most craziest things a parent could ever tell their child. Why? Because your children will not be with you for the rest of their lives. And once they hit about the age of 5, they're going to go to school and they're going to start experiencing environments where you're not going to be. And even if you homeschool your children, they will not always be in your presence. They need to know how to think for themselves. They need to know how to discern for themselves. And here she is essentially telling her son, like, bruh, stop thinking. I do your thinking. You just do what I tell you to do. I don't care if you feel uncomfortable. I don't care if you think it's silly. I don't care about your concerns. Do what I tell you to do. Crazy. So she is essentially training Jacob to dismiss and ignore his gut instincts, to deceive his father for the blessing that rightfully belongs to his brother. So Jacob's internal guide, his gut instinct, is alerting him that his mother's plans are no good. And he asks, what if he feels me? And this question alone, it confirms that he knows what his mother is asking is wrong. However, he continues on with her request, and she continues making these commands. So Jacob ignored his internal guide, his gut instinct, and Rebecca, she was so desperate that she was willing to accept any curse that could possibly be placed on Jacob, that she continued to move forward with her plans of deception. So let's go to verse 18 through 27. And so he went to his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who are you, my son? And Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done what you told me to do. Now sit up and eat of my game, so that you may proceed to bless me. And Isaac said to his son, how is it that you have found the game so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord your God caused it to come to me. But Isaac said to Jacob, come close to me, I beg of you, that I may feel you, my son, and know whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob went near to Isaac, and his father felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are hands of Esau. He could not identify him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. But he said, are you really my son, Esau? He answered, I am. Then Isaac said, bring it to me, and I will eat of my son's game, that I may bless you. He brought it to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father, Isaac, said, come near and kiss me, my son. So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled his clothing and blessed him and said, the scent of my son is as the odor of a field which the Lord has blessed. My goodness. This, what is this? 17 through 27 filled with all type of red flags that Isaac chose to ignore, and I am just utterly confused as to why. The first sign was that the first red flag is that when Jacob said, what did he say? He said, so he went to his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here am I." And then the father said, "Who are you, my son?" And Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done what you told me to do. Now sit up and eat of my game so that you may proceed to bless me." The tone and the word choices that Jacob is using sounds disrespectful. Now, clearly, Isaac ain't perceiving that because he ain't said nothing about it. He just keeps going on like nothing is wrong. But telling your father, "Now sit up and eat of my game so that you may proceed to bless me," sounds disrespectful. That's the first red flag in my mind. But Isaac didn't catch that. But what he did catch is when he realized that, oh, you got back real quick. Like, you've done this many times in the past, but on this occasion, you have gotten back really quick with this game, and you have done whatever process that you need to go through to prepare and cook this meal. Like, you've done it extremely quick, unlike any other past times when you've done the same thing. That was the first red flag that Isaac perceived, but he dismissed it. Why? Because Jacob kept saying, "I am Esau. I am Esau." So he allowed Jacob's deceptive words to override the behaviors that were confirming that something was off. The second red flag, he kept asking him, and he kept saying, "I am Esau." And he could clearly hear that the voice was Jacob. But then he asked him to come close so that I may touch you. He touched his arm and he felt hair. So now he's conflicted. He hears Jacob, but he feels Esau. Again, he chooses to ignore the red flag that is alerting there's conflict. Something is not right. Then he decides to ask him to come close so that I may kiss you. He doesn't really tell the truth. He's not asking him to come close so he can kiss him. It says that he's asking him to come close so that he can smell his clothing. Again, he is trying to give himself another opportunity to use his sensors, his sense of smell, to detect, is this really my son Esau? Does he smell like he was out in the field? So he pulls him close and he smells them. He's still detecting the voice is Jacob, but you smell like Esau. You smell like Esau. You feel like Esau, but you sound like Jacob. Those are 3 opportunities to confirm if something is true. One of them has said this is not true. The other 2 confirm that it is true. If one of your sensors tells you that something is off, trust it. Don't move forward. Pause, reflect, ask clarifying questions that can confirm if this is or is not actually true. And if necessary, allow yourself more time to sit, reflect, discern, and get more understanding about what is really happening. Isaac, my goodness, it says that Esau and Jacob were about 15 years old. I can't think of anybody that I've known for 15 plus years and I don't know the sound of their voice with confidence. And if these are your children, that means you've been spending a lot of time with them. There is no way in the world I know somebody, my child, for 15 years, and I don't know what they sound like. I don't know, well, I can't say look because he can't see, but I don't know what they sound like. I don't know what they feel like. I don't know what they smell like. And I can't be easily deceived after 15 years. But here Isaac is being tricked like he ain't never met these kids a day in his life is what it sounds like. But I'm wondering, why didn't Isaac ask any questions to get clarity? Like, he should have asked, why do you feel and smell like Esau, but you sound like Jacob? Never asked that question. But in my mind, I'm wondering, like, why didn't you get more clarity? He could have asked, if you are in fact Esau, then go get Jacob. I mean, if that's the case, then prove it. Go get Jacob. Because you sound like Jacob, but you feel and smell like Esau. So go get Jacob. That would have clarified what he needed to clarify. He also could have said, let's wait until the entire family is here so that we can have this experience together as a family and celebrate as a family. Again, it would have been hard for Jacob to continue with this deceptive behavior if he would have just allowed a bigger window of time so that everybody could be present. He could have asked Jacob, that was pretending to be Esau, like about experiences that they have had in the past where only Esau would know the answer. But Isaac chose to do none of these things, and he proceeded to go forward with ignoring his censors and giving the blessing that was supposed to go to Esau to Jacob. Crazy. So now we're going to go to verses 28 through 35. And may God give you of the dew of the heavens and of the fatness of the earth and abundance of grain and new wine. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Let everyone be cursed who curses you, and favored with blessings who blesses you. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob was scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, Esau his brother came in from hunting. Esau had just prepared savory food and brought it to his father, and said to him, let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me. That sounds a lot more respectful than what Jacob said. And Isaac his father said to him, who are you? And he replied, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Then Isaac trembled and shook violently, because now Isaac knows, man, I messed up. I have truly messed up. I knew something was off, but I ignored what I was sensing because he kept telling me that he was you, and he didn't sound like you, but he smelled like you, and he felt like you. So I chose to ignore the fact that he didn't sound like you. Again, I can't stress this enough. If one of your sensors is alerting that something is not right, believe it, trust it. It may end up being wrong, but you won't do yourself a disservice by pausing and allowing yourself more time to discern accurately what is really going on. Then Isaac trembled and shook violently, and he said, who? Where is he who hunted game and brought it to me, and I ate of it all before you came, and I have blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with a great and bitter cry, and said to his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. Isaac said, your brother came with crafty, cunning, and treacherous deceit, and has taken your blessing. Yeah, Jacob came with some crafty, cunning, and treacherous deceit, and he tricked Isaac into doing it. But taken is a strong word. I mean, Isaac is refusing to take any accountability for ignoring what he sensed. As a parent, I really want you to understand how important it is that you are acknowledging red flags when you perceive them, and not being so quick to rush forward when you perceive something that is creating conflict. So if one or more of your sensors is perceiving something as deceitful, as crafty, as treacherous, as manipulation, as gaslighting, as somebody denying, dismissing, or distorting reality, believe it. Allow yourself some time to pause and reflect. And you want to make this a habit that you are doing all the time. And it's really challenging to make this a habit that is just a part of your life if you've got unhealed wounds from your childhood, because it makes it challenging to trust what you're perceiving, because that's what a childhood where you have experiences with abuse of any kind, that's what a childhood where you are exposed to parents that are battling addictions of any kind, that's what trauma in your childhood does to you. It's these minor moments of impact, and in many cases severe cases of impact, but even minor cases of impact that are altering the way we perceive things and altering the way we respond to things. Many cases we are still perceiving things accurately, but we are failing to respond to what we have perceived accurately because we are so focused on wanting to keep the peace, not wanting to make other people upset because we tell the truth. And that's clearly what you can see in the dynamic between Rebecca and Jacob. Jacob is more focused on making his mom happy than doing what he knows to be true, what he knows to be right. And you can also see it in the verse that I read at the beginning, chapter 26, verses 34 and 35, just 35, where it says that Esau married Judith, and they made life bitter and a grief of mind and spirit for Isaac and Rebekah. Rebekah brought this upon herself. Rebekah and Isaac, they brought this upon themselves, if we can be honest, because they weren't on the same page. They were not working to become one. They were not in alignment. And Rebekah was intentionally conditioning her son to betray his father and his brother, intentionally creating conflict and strife within the family. And apparently Isaac had unresolved trauma from his childhood because he wasn't even responding well to his censors. Like, he chose to ignore it. I'm talking about he is doubting all the way up until he gives the blessing, and he still gives it. It is never in your best interest to move forward with something when you are doubting it this intensely. And again, it is important that you as the parent do the necessary healing work so that you stop doubting what it is that you're perceiving, because your children need to see you perceiving things well and responding to them well. Because we live in a world where AI is allowing people to do all kinds of things. And we're so focused on training artificial intelligence to sound like us and think like us and behave like us. And we are forgetting that we as human beings are born with authentic intelligence. And as a parent, it is your job to help your children develop and cultivate and help them as they mature and developing their authentic intelligence. Helping them to understand that when they perceive things with their senses, their sense of sight, smell, taste, hearing with their ears, feeling with their skin, perceiving with their nervous system, it is important that you are able to help your children understand and process what they are experiencing on the inside so they can learn to trust themselves. Validation is an important skill for parents to model in relationship to their children. Your children need to know that you believe when they tell you they are experiencing something on the inside. What they perceive on the outside might not have been all the way true, but if they tell you that they're feeling sad, angry, depressed, scared, anything, believe them and help them process through the experience so that they can learn how to perceive well and trust themselves. So I hope you understand the message that I am delivering to you in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.